Yo, 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 welcome to Towards the Storm. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day wherever you are. My name's Thomas Gaffney. I'm your host, and this is where we talk about business, Bitcoin, and bullshit. Today, I have with me a super cool guest. I've been wanting to talk to her for a while. Her name is Nelly Sayon. She is the founder of Radix Charts. It's a really cool data analytics company that is built on the Radix network. And I'm really happy to have you here, Nelly. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you for the invitation. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing good. It's just another beautiful day over here in Los Angeles. You know how it goes.
Yeah, you have it so much better. I mean, I'm sitting in the winter in Germany. It's so awful.
Oh man, what's the temperature over there?
Well, it's about 0 degrees, but it's
Oh,
rainy, it's dark, it's cloudy, the sun is missing.
oh man,
So,
yeah. That's I'm pretty blessed when it comes to that. It's nice and sunny. It's a little chilly
yeah.
today for LA standards. Because I'm certain you say zero, you mean Celsius, right? So it's
Yeah.
probably 16. Does that sound right? Like degrees, like kind of chilly, kind of not. I don't know. Celsius.
Oh, it's more or less like it we had some snow on the weekend,
Oh, okay.
so it's rather cold.
Yeah, yeah. So 32 for you guys. Okay, cool. Yeah. So awesome. But cool. Hey, so I've been wanting to talk to you for a while, and I like to just kind of dig in, see who people are, just kind of give a face to this project. Tell us a little bit about yourself. How'd you get into Web3? How'd you get into Radix? Who's Nelly? What gets you out of bed in the
Yeah. Well, who's Nelly? So actually, the Web3 story is kind of funny. So it
morning?
was a little bit of coincidence. My husband is doing a lot of stock trading, and someday he just decided that I also need to take a little bit responsibility of our finance. So he said, okay, look into crypto, look into Web3, look into DeFi, look into crypto. So that's what brought me here. I had no idea about it. I have not been invested at all. So no Bitcoins, no, not even a single Satoshi something. So I read a book to actually even inform myself about it. And there the story started. And then I just checked like, okay, I mean, now investing into Bitcoin and Ethereum seemed a little boring. And I mean, if you kind of, yeah, trying to get a 10 bagger, it doesn't make so much sense. So I was checking for alternatives, and I actually found Radix on Staatenlos. I'm
What's that?
sure that's a website that also Lucas from OCSwap
Oh, okay.
mentioned. So actually, Lucas brought me here.
Lucas,
uh,
he's everywhere, yeah.
yeah, I mean, we didn't know each other, of course, but I read it on the website, informed myself. Then I joined the Telegram groups, and yeah, that brought me into this whole topic. And in the beginning, it was more or less just I bought some coins and did some staking. And then I discovered it a little bit more. There was more and more Telegram groups. I don't know how many I'm actually joining at the moment, but it's quite a lot. Because I just found out that there's much more. I mean, even at this early stage, there is so much going on in that ecosystem already. I love NFTs, so of course I have a lot of buffs as well. Yes. And
Have fun, baby.
yeah, so that was the start more or less.
Cool.
So I have an IT background, so I'm working in IT like 20 years now.
Oh, cool.
Yes. So I started as a developer and then did several jobs like product owner, project manager, team manager, did some international projects. And at the moment, I'm working as a product manager, so leading a team of product specialists and developers, but nothing in the finance area. So there's also no correlation there.
Okay.
Um, it was more mainly logistics and now a little bit building area, but
Web3 is
yeah, I
starting to
think
get
it's
into logistics too, yeah?
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of connections. I mean, sometimes we are just brainstorming, okay, what can we do? Yeah, so how can we use NFTs in the real world, for
Hmm.
example? What could we build? And there's so many opportunities. At the moment, it's still a little bit too early to really start it.
Sure.
But there's a lot of potential, I think.
Okay. Why do you say it's too early to start it with logistics and NFTs? Where does that come from?
Yeah, it's a little bit tricky because the people I think are not ready for adoption really.
Okay.
So crypto is still a lot about DeFi, yeah, so finance, making some money with some coins. And I think the majority of people have not understood yet that there is so much more potential.
Yeah.
So what does it really mean to have this decentralized network? How can you connect? What can you do with NFTs? So of course, it's we're able more or less to build something, but then you still need to have users and people like in the normal real world to also use it. So I think that's the biggest challenge that we will have also the coming years to
No,
make it really for the many, right?
I
The
completely
people
agree
adapt
with
to it.
you. And it's something that I say all the time is that if you can have the coolest, most best technology in the world, but if no one uses it, what's
Yeah,
the point, right? And so that's one thing I think that Radix is starting to really understand. Well, the RDX Works team with their wallet, right?
yeah.
It's user experience, user interface, right? You go to a bank, it is seamless to just put your money into it. They give you a checking card. You can go and spend your money anywhere. You have
Hmm.
direct deposits from your job. It's constantly just is what it is, right? And so with crypto, like you said, right now in Web3, it's um it's not the easiest thing. People aren't necessarily ready for it. I agree with you, and so I do think adoption is going to be a big driver. But to get that done, we need to build the foundation, right? And that's why we have really
Yeah.
cool projects like yours, providing data, providing information for people so they can do their own due diligence, they can do the research, and so it's really cool. I think it's a good thing because adoption is coming. It just takes a long time. I tell people all the time that email was invented over 50 years ago, and it didn't reach mass adoption or mass saturation of adoption until around 2012. Like people are still
Hmm.
getting their bank statements in the mail. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like whereas like you just should be electronic, like a digital. You know what I mean? And so it's kind of funny that even that technology, people are still not using it to its full potential, right? And so
Yes.
I think it just takes time, but it's definitely coming. What do you think?
I mean, my parents-in-law, for example, I mean, they are paying extra to be able to go to the bank to get some paper. Yeah, I mean, it's really stupid, but they simply don't want to change it.
And that's the thing. That's what we're going against, right? Like
Yeah.
so, like your parents are probably never going to be using crypto. You know, like
No,
exactly.
no.
So it's just like you can carve that side of the population out, right? And so that's why I think NFTs, in terms of like the art and the digital stuff, was so cool, is because anytime a company is trying to integrate a new product, a new technology, a new brand, right? Like they target younger generations, right? Because that younger
Mm.
generation is going to be the workforce. They are going to be the consumers. They are going to be the
Yeah.
ones eventually driving and making policy about all this stuff, right? And they're going to be the ones building it up, right? So I think it was kind of cool that, and if the reason why NFTs were so important, in my opinion, was because it gave people something to do in
Mm.
Web3, right? Like they could sit there and say, yo, look at my Bored Ape Up, or look at my Buff or my Roydette, you know what I mean? Like all these cool things. Cause you have a Roydette photo, right?
Yeah.
Or NFT and JPEGs, whatever, you know,
Yeah.
and it's cool. So it gave people something to do, you know, and so
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I mean, I often hear people saying, okay, there's another JPEG project. Yeah, but
yeah.
I mean, it's entertainment. Yeah,
Hmm.
so we're not that far that we can really use it in the daily life, more or less,
Hmm.
for something else. So it's entertainment. They bring people into the community. They bring money into the ecosystem as well. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I think it's super important. But
I
I was
love that.
also
I
so
love that
super,
take.
yeah. And I was also so happy when I saw the RedFi stream just saying, I mean, in the beginning I thought like, okay, please don't talk just about finance. Yeah. Because it's so much more and they have really shown that. They
Hmm.
have shown that potential. And I think therefore, yeah, we will be successful with Radix.
Yeah, I like that. I like hearing that. It's cool. It's cool because that's exactly what you just said in a nutshell is exactly
Hmm.
how I feel about NFTs. Right. Do I think that they're the end all be all, end of the game, changing the world? Yes, partially, but not specifically just for a profile picture, right?
Yeah.
But what it's really important is, I mean, that's exactly how I shaped Buffs, right? The Buff Wild Crew is that like I wanted to bring something that people could attach to, right? Help bring people to Radix. I've brought in several people to Radix that are just my friend group just because I'm doing this NFT project, right? And it's bringing in funds. It's helping fund the future development of the Buff Wild Crew. We have transactions on the network. It's engaging
Yeah.
in the network, you know, like, so I just saw the other day somehow Buff token was on the top 5
Yes.
token transactions on the Radix network for a 24-hour period.
Yeah.
That blew my mind. I was like, wait, what? You know what I mean? So
I think it was even double. It was the Buff Wild and also the crew coins.
oh wow, cool.
Yes.
I like it. So hey, we're getting up there, you know, but I'm not plugging me. I'm just funny how it talks just because we were on your thing, so it was really cool. But yeah, that's exactly how I think about it, right? It's because as long, and that's why me, like, a lot of people give me crap for like doxing and whatever, but it's the reason why I take that stance is because it's also so easy to be fraudulent in this space, right? That's one thing why people are afraid of NFTs is because they're like, oh, they're just going to have a rug pull. It's going to take your money away. They're worthless. And it's like, in a sense, that can be it, right? Because if you, there can be some bad actors out there with bad intentions, just trying to get your money, and then they're going to disappear and go away. And that's a bad thing. And that's one part of the reason why NFTs get such a bad name and such a bad rap is because of some of these bad actors. And that's part of the reason why I'm so big on doxing. I mean, it's a double-edged sword, right? If you're doxing yourself, you only get one shot at your reputation, right? Like, so a lot of people come after me and they try and tarnish my reputation, but it's just because I'm doxing, they can't, right? But at the same time, me standing up for what I want, doing what I want, and doing what I believe in, it also can gain trust, which is why I think Buffs have been decently successful, is because people trust our team and what we're doing and what we're trying to do, and they believe in what we're trying to do. And those are the good things, I think, of NFTs and of Web3 is it allows projects like mine to do that kind of thing. And so I think it's really cool. I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head on that one.
Yeah, I think it's really fun. And I mean, as you said, I mean, our goal with Radix Charts is to bring this transparency. Yeah. So you are happy that you're somehow showing up in this top 5.
Yeah.
Others are happy because they were somewhere in the top 10 Twitter influencers whatsoever. And I mean, in general, I think an issue with Web3 or also with Radix now is really that I mean, all the information is available, but it's really tricky to get them. Yeah, I mean, everybody can just go there and check all the transactions, but what do you do with it? Yeah, so we are more or less really just trying to consolidate them, to aggregate them, to interpret them, and just bring some transparency into this whole thing. And yeah, I think it's working quite well. So people really like it. People use it. I see screenshots from Radix Charts everywhere now. So it really seems that it was somehow missing.
It was a product that was needed. I mean,
yeah,
as especially, I feel like, I mean, this isn't unique to Web3, but the type of person in crypto, Web3, or in specifically Radix, since it's a niche, it's harder to get to. Those types of people are very data-driven minds, right? And they like visualize. It's hard to talk about data without visualizing it, right? And so everyone knew that there was some data out there, but you came in with this amazing idea and you started visualizing the data so that people can see, right? Because it's like you're thinking about data, it's just thinking, but visualizing it gives it that completely otherworldly experience that you can't just do without making some charts and stuff like that, you know? And so I think it's amazing.
Yeah, and it also makes people discussing it. Yeah, so it's people talk suddenly about some things that they have never done before, maybe because they simply didn't have this this opportunity.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely amazing. If you haven't checked it out now, you absolutely should follow them on Radix Charts. Radix Charts. What is it? IO is it or
no? RadixChart.com.
What is it? .com. Okay, RadixCharts.com. Nelly Sayon, check them out. You absolutely have to. It's really cool. They update it almost every week. You say you add a feature every week? I saw that recently.
Yeah, actually, we did. I think the only usually it's Sunday. Sunday is feature day. So each
Sunday? Oh,
Sunday we try to come up with a new feature. I mean, mainly it's because we have our normal jobs during the week.
yeah.
So of course we do some development just in our free time, and then on the weekend there's most of the free time. So usually we do a feature on Sundays. And I
Cool.
think the only Sunday we missed was actually Christmas. So there
Christmas?
was a small a small break for Christmas, but otherwise we try to come up with something every Sunday. It will be more tricky in the future, I think, because we have covered a lot already. I mean, there's still a lot of plans, but most probably they will take a little longer time. So yeah, I need to be creative to come up with something each Sunday.
Absolutely. I know what you mean with that. And hey, you need a break sometimes, right? What's a better excuse than Christmas, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have any insights about the future of the project, where you want to take it? Anything that's cool coming up?
Yeah, I mean, we don't have a complete plan. I mean, we didn't have a plan at all for this project, so it was more or less just that we have seen some talks in the community, some people who have tried to just get some of the data, not very successful or wrong or outdated. So we just started with more or less rankings of Telegram groups and Twitter accounts and see, okay, which project has the most members. So that was the start. Um, and then, yeah, we just continued. Yeah, like, okay, let's check the gateway. How many token transfers do we have? What about the validators? Who got the biggest stake, and so on. So those things are covered already. What is missing is really like an NFT overview.
Okay.
Because yeah, as we already discussed, many people are interested in the NFTs, of course. So what about trading volumes? What is the floor price? Yes, to have it like centralized on Radix Charts. The DEXs, of course, like, okay, what is the prices of the tokens? That is also still missing, so that's also still planned. And we're actually thinking about an app version as well, because I mean, it's really tricky to show all this data on the website.
Oh yeah.
I always try to make it readable somehow, at least also on the phone, but I mean it's just too many data. And of course, yeah, having an app, there is the possibility to have some other features maybe as well. So we are currently thinking about a concept for a mobile app, but it's, yeah, I don't want to promise anything, so it
Sure.
might happen, it might not happen, but at least there is the idea. So let's see.
Absolutely. No, I think that's great. I would be curious to see what the community would want to do. Maybe you should do some kind of poll too, to see what people want to see next. If you ever run out of ideas, because that's one thing I've realized is that the community does like to engage in
Yes.
questions and their opinions.
Yeah.
They they just kind of like talking about things because they feel, and rightfully so, that they are part of this network in general, right? And so that's what decentralization is all about, right? Is
Yeah.
giving the power back to the people and giving them kind of a voice, right? And so that's one thing that I've always liked doing, is just throwing it out there. If I'm trying to make a hard decision or can't kind of get stuck on something, I'm just like, all right, buffs, help me figure this one out because I can't do it myself. And
Mm.
usually they come up with some pretty good stuff on their own, because there's a lot of really smart people in this community,
Yeah, definitely.
and they like to have their voices heard, rightfully so,
Yeah, I mean that works pretty well. I mean, most of the features actually are coming from the community somehow.
Mhm.
So yes, they're very active. They know what they want. I love that.
Yeah, they
So
do.
it's not always easy to also achieve that and build what they want, but at least they come up with a lot of ideas and some demands. And yeah, I really love that. Very
Cool.
active community.
Yeah. Speaking of the community, and I'll ask you a question, and if you don't want to answer it, that's totally fine. But
Okay.
if you haven't noticed, there's not a lot of women in the community, right? Like there's some, they're sprinkled about, and a lot of times when someone claims to be a woman on Twitter, the Twitter bots come, not the Twitter bots, but the DGens come after them. Oh, you're not a real girl. You're not a real girl.
Mm,
So What's it been like? What's your experience as a woman in Web3 and in the community of Radix? Like, how is that? How is
I mean, there's still people who think I'm a man.
it?
It
Hopefully
took
that this
quite,
puts that to rest, right?
yeah, I mean, it took quite a long time until people understood. I thought it's a quite female name, actually.
Yeah.
And I'm also kind of using very female profile pictures. But
Uh-huh.
still, most of the people are just guessing I'm a man. I think because, well, it's Web3 and I'm a developer, so I need to be a man. There's no other chance. Um, but other than that, I mean, everybody's accepting that, yeah. So it's funny. I really always need to laugh about this when people, yeah, say, okay, like something like man or mate or guy or whatever. I also learned that actually in many countries you can say both, so
Uh-huh.
to both genders. I didn't know
Yeah.
that. But I mean, the community is, yeah, it's just lovely. So especially those that know that I'm a woman,
Mm.
they, I don't know, they treat me like a princess sometimes. So I really love all of them. It's nice. It's not a
That's
problem at all. I mean, I'm used to it.
yeah.
As I said, I'm working in IT for a long time now. I'm used to be one woman between a lot of men.
Mhm.
I never had a problem with that. I just, yeah, it's funny. I enjoy it somehow.
I mean, it's a good thing, right? I mean, I think we need more women in the space, personally,
Mm,
right? Just because I mean, the whole culture of the world was built on the foundation of a man and woman. It's a
mm,
team aspect, right? Like so, like marriage, right? Like you have a man and a woman, and they have this team, right? And so, to get the proper perspective and to get adoption on a broader scale, you need insights from the other half of the population of the world,
mm.
right? Like, like so, I think it's really important. I'm super glad that you are a woman, and so I know people are out there are like, oh man, she actually is. I can't believe it. Oh my gosh, you know what I mean? And so, but I think we need more women in the space because you guys provide. We'll see you guys, right? So
Yeah,
that's me saying it, right? So you all provide a lot more of a different insight and different aspect and a different take, just because men and women's brains are wired a little bit differently, at least in my opinion, and how they approach things. My wife tells me that all the time. You're dumb, you know what I mean? Like the way it is. And
yeah,
so I think it's important, and so I'm glad that you're out here and doing this because I think it brings some legitimacy
yeah.
to Radix and to Web3s because you need both sides of the coin, you know.
Yeah, I also think it's you need that balance, and I'm actually sure there is some more that are somehow hiding. So I think not everybody's really they're just saying that they are a woman or that they are female.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's of course also not important, yeah. So maybe sometimes it simply doesn't matter. Um, but I also think, I mean, especially those that are building something, yeah, that want to deliver something to the Radix ecosystem. Yeah, it's good to have the balance.
Oh, I completely
Yeah.
agree. It's cool because, and it's funny. Like, I feel like just since it is so kind of male dominated in terms of population,
Mhm.
right? Like, and sometimes I feel like people, some women are afraid to come out and reveal themselves as women because they're hiding, just because they do get that different treatment all of a sudden, right?
Mm.
Like for perfect example, Alex, um, uh, my designer and artist for buffs. So his girlfriend is in kind of like the Radix scene a little bit. She's not really she's not a tech person, but she like posted something about it, and you have 3 or 4 scorp pictures just hitting on her a little bit, and be like, oh
Mm.
hey, look at this, and it's like, come on guys, you know what I mean? Like you gotta
Yeah.
show us a little bit of class, you know? It's got to be difficult, you know. Have you experienced any of that yourself, or how's that go?
No, it was quite okay. I mean, there's not so. I mean, the first time that I actually really show my face.
Yeah.
Uh, there. I think there's two pictures, but I'm like in a group, so people don't really know yet how I look like.
Yeah.
But I feel like, I mean, most people think, or I think want to believe that I'm young, yeah,
Yeah.
that I'm a young, whatever, mid-20 hot girl. That's what they that's what people sometimes assume when you say, okay, I'm a girl or I'm a woman.
Yeah.
They make their own ideas about your personality and your look. But it's, yeah, there was no critical offense situations at all, so everybody is really polite, I think.
That's good. I like it. I like it. That's cool. That's cool. And honestly, after this now, they'll hopefully put to rest any of those doubts, right? And
Yeah,
so it's kind of funny because even my wife, Kristen, she was talking about Radix. She's like, oh, just talk about it. Get in there. It's really cool because she listened to me here talk about it all the time. And people at first were like, are you even a girl? Are you even a girl? And then we went to a Lakers game at Crypto.com arena, and she
yeah.
posted a video, and they're like, "Oh my God, she's actually a girl." And then they found out that we were together and we were getting married and all that stuff. So it's kind of funny with the community and
Yes.
how they explode like
Yeah, it really is. I mean, sometimes it's still, as I said, they still think I'm a man, and it's so funny when they find out I'm not.
that. Yeah. Well, they'll know now. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
I think so.
Cool. Awesome. So, let me think. What being part of Radix, right? And you said you were part of Radfi, and you were on the town hall space with me.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you see that are positive, that are negative? But what gets you excited about Radix in general, kind of moving forward as a project?
Yeah, but it's actually, probably it should be an obvious thing, but it's actually tricky to answer when you're so much into it. I
Uh-huh.
think, I mean, of course, first of all, the technology as such is special. So I think it is actually prepared really to be fast, to be able to, or is capable to handle a lot of transactions at the same time, etc. I mean, other cryptocurrencies, if you say so, they're simply too slow. They're too expensive when you transfer them, and I think. With Radix, all this is not a problem at all anymore. Yeah, so you can do transactions in a very short time with very low fees, and that, of course, can bring this adaption of, yeah, for the many people, more or less, so that you get a lot of users. But I think besides of that, it is really the community and the ecosystem that you currently already see. So as we said before, technology is not the whole story. It doesn't help you anything if there's nothing, no D apps more or less available for the people to use. So to get those people into this ecosystem, and I think there is already so much potential. There is so many projects that already do something. Yeah. So of course we have the exchanges, but we also have those platforms for betting, for example. Of course we have the NFTs.
Mhm.
We will always keep the NFTs. But there's other, like, marketplaces and so on. There's a lot of things already built. And I think that those projects are very good supported. At least that's my feeling, that they have the chance to build early, but they also get the information they need to build that. Yeah, and in the end, hopefully we will have really a good working big ecosystem that just yeah, can cover all the needs of the people that are currently not willing to come into Web3 and yeah,
I agree.
invest there and do their daily life there, more or less.
I agree. And one thing I think could be important moving forward. I posted. I'm going to keep going back to this as the time progresses, but I posted back in July that there's going to be an economic shift, right? Like I personally
Mm,
think we're kind of already in a recession
yeah.
globally, especially in Europe with all the
Yes.
war and everything going on and the geopolitical issues. Beside that, there are massive tech layoffs, like massive. And a lot of people are kind of losing their jobs. And a lot of times that's just the big companies that they're talking about. What they don't talk about is some of the smaller companies that are just kind of either going under or completely laying off like half their staff, kind of reforming everything of what they're doing. And so I genuinely think that, and this is kind of a proven fact, is that during a recession, uh, there's a boom of small businesses, right? Just because people who lose their jobs are looking to try and make money, and the job market isn't as great out there, right? And so one thing I think is that people are going to be coming to Web3. One of the things that drove me to Radix was just how cheap it was to build here, right? You can make a token for essentially what, 100 XRD it costs to make a token, and you can transact with it and use it. To make a token on Ethereum, at least a couple months ago, it was really difficult and expensive. And then you have gas fees transferring back and forth that makes it even exponentially more expensive. So there was a huge barrier of entry. And I think one thing that's important about Radix is like the speed, aside from the speed and the transaction cost, is the affordability to be able to actually to build here and to learn here. I think it's a really good place for people to really learn and grow. I mean, look at you. You said you had no plan for Radix Charts, and then you just started doing it, and now it's exploding, right? And so it's like you're learning here, you know? And so
Yes,
I
definitely.
think it's important.
Yeah. Yeah, that's absolutely true.
Yeah. So like it's something that I think that Radix as a whole could start to market to get people out to come in. Because one thing that I really think is going to be the most important thing moving forward is getting people onboarded to Radix, from the broader crypto web space in general, right? And I think that's part of what the team is doing, is they're targeting those people, is and hopefully support the builders, because this is a really, really good place to build and grow. And during a recession, people are going to need to learn new skills, get new jobs, do different things. And I think that, like they said, Crypto is supposed to be, I'm not a coder, you know, like my guys do all that stuff, but I can kind of understand it a little bit. And they said, if Crypto is as easy and user-friendly as possible, I think that's something that we as a community can start doing and pushing to try and get people from outside in, is that, hey, it's good to build here. It's a good place to learn. It's accepting environment. People are always out there pushing new things just to show them around, you know, and hopefully build success and get some more people in the community itself.
Yeah, I think what people are really missing is, I mean, they want to see something ready. Yeah, they want to see something really working. I also think Crypto is really easy to learn. It's somehow getting easier with each version that they release. But still, it's like it's just testing. Yeah, so it's not real yet. So people can't just connect to a website and try something out. Yeah, they can't really feel it yet. And I'm also quite sure that with Babylon, we will really feel a boom coming there. So a lot of people are just waiting to see some proof. And when that is really happening, then there will be much more people coming in. But you already see it, like after Red5, there is already new developers coming in, not thousands, but at least a dozen maybe. And that's a good start. So I think more and more will be coming over time.
Absolutely, that's a great start. And you said that Crypto is not really real yet. I understand that kind of what you mean, and how Babylon is going to hopefully launch that forward. Can you explain that a little bit? Like, as a developer, have you been using BetaNet at all with the launch that they had in December, I believe?
Not completely yet. I had a quick look into it, but mainly just for this wallet connect button. And I mean, there's a few things definitely still missing. Yeah, so the BetaNet gateway is not completely ready yet. So the interface, I think, also for the wallet SDK is not completely ready. so there's still a few things missing. I mean, it's there's coming news more or less every week. It's evolving good, I think. I don't see it critical at all. But still, it's you see now also on Twitter, there's more and more things coming. People sharing their code, little small applications. So I think it will come over time, yes.
Cool. So,
but still, there is this last piece still missing. So people want to see the wallet working in real life. Yeah. So
yes.
not only in this demonstration, and then of course then connected to like a special website or to their own Web3 application. So there's this little last step we are all waiting for.
So is that what? So what does? So sorry. And so for me, right, I've heard ever since I've been in Radix, which is over a year now, right? I bought my first XRD token in September of 2021, right? And so people have been talking about Babylon forever, right? And you have this vision in your head of what it is, and everyone just knows. So, and this goes back to what I was saying earlier, data and then visualizing it, which is what your project is doing, right? Is you're compiling all this data and make it look real. And people are like, oh, this is real. This is what's actually happening. Wow, it's cool. I get to see it, right? So for me, this idea of Babylon has still just been this idea, right? And so what does Babylon look like? Like, what does it look like? Is that what we're still waiting for? Like once we launch it, like, because everyone's been talking about Babylon, but once it's launched, like, what does that look like to you as for a layperson? Because I mean, I've heard the word gateway. I kind of understand what that means. I know what user interface means. I know what some of these connections mean, but at the same time, as a person who uses Web3 all the time, and I know how to use it in this aspect, what does that look like for some kind of user that isn't as versed as me and is still trying to learn all of this, right? And so, in your vision? I don't really know. I mean, you can just speculate or not. But what would Babylon actually kind of look like? How does that work?
Well, if you want to say it in maybe bad words, you can say at the moment it's some kind of simulation. Yeah, so we are just transferring tokens. So you transfer XRDs and you get a buff token. But this buff token is nothing in that sense. Yeah, so it's a token. It's a virtual something. And with Babylon, it gets a real NFT. Yeah, so you have an ownership. It is connected to exactly this JPEG that you bought. It's not just somewhere in your database connected to this buff picture. But this really connected to this token. Yeah, it has all the different attributes. Yeah, so all the traits which are like connected to really this specific token. So there it really becomes true. Or other things like when we take Delphi bets, for example. Yeah, so at the moment you can do some predictions. And they're done on Telegram, they are done on Twitter. You get some DPH tokens. Yes, that's kind of virtualized, but with Babylon, then you have like real betting functionality. You can have the smart contracts that more or less just give the rules. Nobody needs to check it like manually. If the rules are fulfilled, everything can just go via the smart contract and via the system, and then it gets something real. At the moment, it's a lot of manual work. You have to send those tokens, to link those somehow to a picture, because you have like my wallet ID or my account ID linked to whatever buff 0395, so I can look it up on the web page, but it's not really on the decentralized network. And it's still somehow on your server, on your database. And with Babylon, we are out of this simulation, and we get into this real DeFi and Web3 world. I think that's a big difference. And
okay, that's cool. That's cool. That's a good way to explain it, right? Because as me, like with my project, right, we have the separate database we're running with that issue now, right? We have to hold in which wallets own which images and which tokens, and so some people are transferring tokens without letting us know, and then
it's a complete mess.
It is a complete mess. But I mean, it's funny because it's like at the end of the day, it's still going to be centralized, right? So you kind of have to trust who you're trading with,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, the database that exists on our side is going to be the database that is uploaded to the network, right? And so it is kind of a little bit of a mess.
Yeah.
And so because people just transfer things, don't really know, take time. And like this one guy had like 4 different buff tokens in his wallet, but he didn't have any buffs in our database. And we found out that he was buying them from people off over the counter
Mm,
from when we did giveaways, and they're sending the tokens and exchange it. So it's just like trying to figure out what number it is. You know what I mean? So it is
yes.
a lot of heavy lifting and work. And so I mean, we got that issue squared away. That was a while ago, before we had our marketplace up. But now a lot of people just go through that, and it's a lot easier because
Yeah.
it's somewhat automated. And so but yeah, it's interesting. So one thing I was curious, and I don't know if you know, or is the wallet going to be like have your actual assets and your NFTs in that the wallet that they presented at RadFi?
Well, it's still linked. So first of all, you have the wallet, and in that wallet, you have different accounts.
Yeah.
So what we today call wallet ID is actually an account ID.
Oh, okay.
I learned that from Russell, I think, in one of the videos. So I tried to adapt to it and call it account instead.
Okay.
Um, so you buy your tokens or your NFTs with the account,
Okay.
but still it's more or less saved somewhere on the network.
Yeah.
It's not saved in your wallet itself. So it's just linked. You have a reference to it,
Oh,
as
okay.
far as I understand, at least.
That makes sense. So it's like the Radix wallet, it'll just be like a link showing up what is actually in your account. It's not actually gonna be
Yeah.
stored there. Makes
Yes.
sense. Okay, so that makes sense. And is that the wallet, oh, the account ID that we have now, or is that going to be something different in the future? So is my wallet going to be my wallet ID? Is that going to be changing once Babylon goes live? How does that work? Do you know?
I think so. Yes, I think the accounts are changing, and I think even the tokens are changing. I mean, also for the BAF token, for example, need to mint a real NFT.
Hmm.
So somehow everything needs to be exchanged, and that's also for me still a question mark. But I honestly have not looked into it yet. So what it means, also a little bit scary for Radix Charts, because I think we will need to do a lot of changes with Babylon. So I should probably start looking into it and be prepared.
Well, that's the whole thing, right? And so that's why we have these questions, we have these conversations, right? Because like I'm also as a part of a team that's building as well, right? Like we're trying to figure that out ourselves right now. It's like, okay,
Mm,
well, we want to be ready day one when Babylon goes live, right? To be able to have the NFTs uploaded and everyone gets all their stuff in their wallet, because I feel like there's going to be a massive rush for that, and
yeah,
projects that are prepared um, for that kind of stuff are going to be in a good spot, right? As long as they are ready to go, because someone's going to have to figure that out, and I guess we're going to have to all figure it out together as it's coming along, because uh, it's going to be an issue. I was actually talking to Beam about that. How some people are going to accidentally rug because they won't have the capabilities or
yeah,
know-how to actually put these JPEGs onto the blockchain and
yes.
actually make it into a real NFT. And so that's going to be something that people are going to be facing big time leading up to it.
Yeah, I mean, I hope, or at least also, I guess I would even say that there will be some services.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, not sure about your plans, for example, for the NFT platform. Of course, you can just offer that service to other projects who are not able to do that themselves.
Exactly. I
But
think,
at the end, it will be some costs. And then
yeah.
again, of course, people can decide, well, I already have the money, so why should I invest into this real NFTs now?
That's the whole thing, and that's where I come back to doxing is important, right? In terms of my
Mm,
opinion, is it just creates accountability. That's one thing I think the crypto community has lacked. I mean, look at SBF. Look what happened. I mean,
mm,
there's no accountability there whatsoever. I mean, he was he was doxxed and out, but there was no accountability about what was going on with the accounting, how he was spending the money, where he was
Yeah.
allocating it, and it gave crypto a very bad name, and it still leaves a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths
Mm.
because there was a lot of people that lost a lot of money, and it's tough. And this has happened several times. This isn't the first accounting fraud that's ever occurred. It's just the first massive one in crypto, right? I mean, you've got traditional markets. I mean, this has happened several times, and there's always
Mm.
going to be bad actors out there, and there's always going to be things, but at least sometimes it just creates some kind of form of accountability with people, And so that's one thing I'm worried about with NFT projects is like they're like, oh well, we already had the money, or we already have the money and the money's already gone, right?
Yeah.
And they don't have the know-how or the money to pay someone or even the time, effort, or energy to go do it. And it's something that I hope doesn't happen. I hope that there is someone out there. Even Beam said himself, he's like, I'll probably have to be the one to just make a blueprint to make it easy, for everyone just to
Mm.
upload their
Yes.
stuff and get it done. Which I hope someone does do that because there's a lot of good projects out there, and some people are afraid to ask for help. And I hope that someone makes something easy to get that done. That'd be good for the community at least. I think.
Yeah. I mean, there's some project where you think it's a one person show, right?
Yeah.
So I really wonder how they do that.
Yeah.
But I also hope that they will just ask for help. And as you said, I mean, usually you get all the help you need in that community. So everybody in the end just wants to have everything successful and see Radix as a whole ecosystem being successful. So
Mhm.
yes, hopefully they will not just disappear.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I hope so too. And I mean, it's one of those things where I really do hope that I think it will come around because I feel like there's probably money in it, in that service in and of itself, right?
Mm.
Even if it's
Yeah.
not all that much. Say, oh, give us 1,000 XRD and these files, and we'll do it for you, right? So I have a feeling that someone's going to go out there and try to make some money being able to do this, right? Because I'm telling you right now, there's going to be a market for it. I already know it,
Mm.
right? Because a lot of the people who originally started in NFTs on Radix were more so artists rather than developers.
Yeah.
And because there are a lot of artists, right? Because during the NFT boom, I think it was amazing because it gave artists who prior did not have the ability to go out and make money on their own and actually sell their art. It decentralized small shops for art creation, right? And
Mm.
so, and a lot of these, but you still have to have some kind of developer skills to actually get it there. And so on Radix, it wasn't as prominent because all you had to do was make a token, and people were making tokens. And if you get a token and you know how to put some website together and art, then boom, you got it, right? But
Yeah.
like the actual dev work is still going to be coming up. So I think that someone out there in the community is going to make some kind of service. It's got to be.
Yeah. Yeah. I also think so.
Well, that's good. It's really good. But let's see. We're coming up about on almost an hour here. Do you have anything that you want to like chat about? Any questions for me? Anything that you really see? I've really enjoyed talking to you so far.
Thank you. Well, I don't know. I think we have covered a lot of topics. So I'm definitely really looking forward to your new cooperation with Mick, yeah, for the
Yeah.
new NFT platform. So we definitely need to talk about interfacing to Radix Charts to get all the figures and data.
Yeah, no, I'll make sure that Ryan and Mick get you the API. What is that, API? Is that how that works?
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay. I'll get them, make sure they get the API so all over to you. We'll definitely work with you on that. So have no fear there. And that'd be great to get it all up because it's cool. But yeah, it's gonna be pretty interesting. It's called Mick Radishiko and Buff Wild. They're kind of merging and forming an entity called Crew Labs
Mm,
because Mick's a front end guy. He lost some of his devs during the downturn. My team's more back end oriented, and so it kind of was like a perfect blend, match made in heaven, I guess you would say, right? And
yeah.
we're going to be helping them publish Radish Square, and so that's gonna be really fun. But more to that and soon, coming up real soon, actually.
Soon.
Yeah, soon.
Soon.
Yeah. Well, Nelly, one thing I'd like to finish and have kind of people comment on is if you could give one thing, one piece of advice for builders out there, other women out there as well in the Radix space, is coming from you, it might mean something a little more. If you could relay just like kind of one thing to people out there listening who might want to build, might want to get into the space, what would it be?
Well, I think I would not just limit it to builders or even to just Web3. I think in general, what is really important, and what I personally also just felt like the last half year, is like if you really want something, then you can do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's always this negative people around you who will say it's nonsense, or you're not able, or you're not capable to do something. But I think it's really important to just believe in yourself. Start doing it. Maybe it will take some time, but if you really want something, then you will be able to do it, and you will be able to get it.
Mm-hmm. I like it. I believe in that thoroughly. You know, I think
Yeah.
that's that's what I try and live my life like every day almost. So I think we're on the same page, the same wavelength in terms of that.
Yeah, but sometimes it's really important to just remind it, right?
Yeah.
Or remember it and remind the people.
Yes.
And of course, sometimes for women, it's even more tricky.
Yeah.
Because it is still this world of the old white man, right? So and then also it depends a little bit on your background, on your family, on just the surroundings. So some have a more modern attitude, some are like more a little bit old school. So in general, don't listen to other people, just do what you like.
I like it. That's the way to do it. Well, Nelly, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on. I can't wait to keep following the progress of your project. I'll probably be pinging you here and there just to ask you questions. We got to do another Radix Town Hall soon. I think it'd be cool. We can get some of the projects together and kind of do that. So I'll be in touch with you on that. I'll see you in Rumble.
Yes.
And thanks so much for coming on. And everyone, Nelly, check out Radix Charts. It's gonna be a blast. I hope everyone has a great day.
Thank you. Have a good day too. Bye bye.
Awesome.